Hi, I'm Dr. Patrick Andersen of Madison Maximized Living. Do you want to learn about how you can help yourself be healthier? Do you also have concerns about the environment you live in? What about the most important environment you live in? Your own body. Is it polluted, toxic, or out of balance? Stay tuned as co-host Ellen Barrett and myself cover the latest in natural healthcare news. Coming up next.
Welcome back to Maximize Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen, and we've got your natural healthcare news. We've got some great news headlines for you today. You're going to like this first one. This is a real eye catcher. Beer is a better pain reliever than Tylenol, study finds. This is coming from CBS Philly. That gets your attention.
It sure does.
And this is a new study led by Dr. Trevor Thompson from the University of Greenwich and published in the Journal of Pain. And it suggests that throwing back a few cold ones could actually relieve pain better than Tylenol. Could you believe that?
Yeah.
It's an amazing study, and basically what they found is knocking back 3 or 4 beers deep, it helps elevate your pain threshold significantly. But of course, they kind of also made the connection that that might be why there's alcohol misuse.
Yeah, some people actually use alcohol as medication.
Right.
And they think, and it's probably not a good idea because it is really hard. There really isn't a safe level of alcohol for cancer in the latest studies now. There is really no safe level. You know, for example, the wine may be good for the heart, but it's not good for cancer issues.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's important to know. That's
yeah, and I know in my reading I hear 1 glass of wine a week is the real natural people will say that would be all right. But,
okay.
But this 14, 15 drinks a week doesn't cut it, I don't think.
Not good.
But the beer is interesting and will block pain. You probably just don't feel that good after you're done.
Exactly.
And interestingly enough, there's studies showing that the lifetime limit for acetaminophen is 1,000 per lifetime, and with exceeding that limit increases and almost predicts liver or kidney damage if you have too much of it.
Oh my gosh.
And it is a highly toxic drug if too much is taken at once too.
And think how many times you may have just taken a couple pills and not really thought twice about it. But when you start to think about your whole life, how many times you've done that, wow, it really
Again, that
starts
gets
to add
back
up.
to our theme of take care of the problem. There's a signal coming, there's a reason for it. It really isn't the lack of medication that's causing it. There's something wrong that usually the body can get right with some help.
It's important to know.
I have one here. Missing sleep can make you fat. I bet I got your attention with that one. Not yours. Some people. I got my own attention. One study found that adults who report fewer than 4 hours of sleep a night are a whopping 73% more likely to be obese.
Oh my goodness, that's a pretty high percentage.
Yeah. And then research published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism showed that this is brain science now. Right anterior cingulate cortex, a part of the brain that contributes to a person's appetite, is more activated as soon as you lose sleep in the night.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then hormones, ghrelin, which causes hunger, and leptin, which tells you to stop eating and tells you you're full.
Okay.
Those get thrown all out of whack. And so that imbalance causes a craving for junk food. When you lose sleep, you crave junk food.
Well, do you think that's why too sometimes in the middle of the night you can't sleep, you wake up and your first thought is to go have a snack?
Yeah, your hormones are out of balance from lack of sleep.
Oh my gosh. And then you wake up in the morning and you still feel hungry. Doesn't make any sense at all. I've got another interesting one here too. This one is from the Daily Mail. Could phones change the way our spine curve? Scientists warn an entire generation is plagued by text neck. And this headline kind of stood out to me because there's so many times I've been texting or I've been laying in my bed texting and my neck is completely scrunched up and I've felt pain. It can't be good. And spine surgeons are noticing an increase in patients with neck and upper back pain. And what they're suggesting, some just lifestyle changes. Holding cell phones in front of the face or near eye level while texting rather than scrunching over. elevating your computer monitor.
Yeah.
Some people don't think about that. It's not just texting. And of course, frequent resting breaks and some physical exercise are great too to strengthen the neck.
Right, and keep in mind, for every inch forward the head is, it weighs 10 pounds more.
Oh.
So many people would be at least 2 inches forward when they're texting. And that's 20 pounds heavier head all day long on your neck and shoulders.
Oh gosh, that is so difficult. And what they're wondering is, how is this going to affect younger generations? They're not sure how this is going to manifest.
Tends to model which positions you're in.
Stay tuned with us. We'll be back with some more natural healthcare news headlines right after this.
Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv.
Welcome back to Maximize Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen, and today we're talking about natural healthcare news. And something important I know for Maximize Living, it's all about maximizing your nutrition. That's a really big pillar of what you guys do. And I found a great article. It's from Authority Nutrition, and it's focusing on healthy cooking oils, the ultimate guide. And it breaks down not only choosing oils that are healthy, but making sure they stay healthy after they've been cooked, because that chemical transformation really happens. And this breaks it down. It says the winner of them all is coconut oil. And when it comes down to it, over 90% of the fatty acids in it are saturated, which makes it very resistant to heat, which is good if maybe you're not the best cook, like I am. You don't want that oil getting too hot and breaking down. But also it sounds like it's pretty healthy for you. I've heard it used in people's hair, cooking.
Suntan lotion.
Suntan lotion.
Moisturizer.
I mean, is there anything you can't do with coconut oil?
You can swish it in your mouth for antibacterial effects.
Yeah.
It's good for gum disease that way. It's quite amazing.
It is. So that's a great one just to have in your pantry for cooking with, that has a lot of different benefits. Another one I was surprised that they said was a good choice was butter, because I think we tend to think butter's bad.
No.
It's bad for you, it's fat,
Yeah.
salt, sugar.
Yeah, they're totally wrong. Even Time magazine had an article about a year ago. On the cover it said, "We were wrong." And it had a big stick of butter on it. And you know, butter is healthy for you. And it was the trans fats of margarine that was bad for you.
And that's what this article goes on to say as well, that, you know, that margarine, not good, but butter can actually be nutritious for you.
Absolutely.
And use it in all sorts of different dishes. Obviously, it tastes yummy as well. Olive oil is on here, animal fats as well, palm oil. And I think these are kind of listed from best to least best. So that's important to keep in mind. And of course, being able to just Google this stuff and make sure you're looking at what you're using in your cooking.
And
is
so
important.
some of the bad oils are the vegetable oils, the corn oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil. You think those would be good, but they're really quite high in omega-6 fats, which tend to replace the omega-3 fats on the cell wall of your trillions of cells. And they just don't respire properly. They don't move nutrients in and out very well. It's kind of like wrapping your cells in saran wrap when you have too many bad oils and your cells don't eliminate toxins the way they should.
See, that's important to know, because I think a lot of those, you hear the word vegetable and you think healthy.
Yeah.
It's a vegetable. It's vegetable oil. But that's not always
Now,
the case.
corn in itself, like a corn on the cob, isn't necessarily bad at all. But when you have corn oil, it's about 200 times concentrated.
Oh my goodness.
And it's really high in omega-6s, which
I had
are
no
the
idea.
bad fats.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I've got one here on, speaking of fats, the truth about saturated fat. This will surprise you. A new editorial published today in the British Journal of Sports Medicine is raising heart rates. CNN reported the journal that 3 cardiologists say saturated fats do not clog arteries, and the clogged pipe model of heart disease is plain wrong.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and we're hearing more and more of that, where this model isn't right. And so it isn't necessarily the bad fats at all. It's the trans fats, and it's the oxidation of cholesterol that's the problem. Cholesterol is a really important for all your hormone production. If your cholesterol gets too low, you can't fight disease very well.
Right.
So you have to have concerns with that. So it's certainly something here to wake everybody up and look at that.
And that's really changing an entire school of thought, correct? On saturated fats. We've always been told, just kind of like butter and some of those different things, bad.
It's the triglycerides go up, for example, from sugar, not from fat.
Right.
And there's the great French paradox where they have a lot of cheese and fats, and they don't have high cholesterol.
It's important to do your research. I think that's what we learn at the end of the day, and learning how to research and looking those things up. And we're going to have more health news for you coming up right after this.
Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv.
Welcome back to Maximize Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen. We've got more natural health news, and I'm excited about this one. We're talking about napping and sleep. Man, napping is tough for me. I've never been somebody who's able to nap, and this is an article from Time, and this is directions basically on how to take the perfect nap. So take your notes. And what they suggest is setting your alarm for about 20 minutes, which maybe that's part of my problem. I tend to want to nap for about an hour. Which might be a little long, and then you wake up feeling kind of groggy. They suggest 20 minutes, that's a good amount of time, 20 to 25 minutes for people. Another one is schedule your nap early in the day. Shut out the light. That can be tough for me, making sure you're not napping on the living room couch, go into your room. And that's actually number 4, crawl into your bed. And they actually suggest directly to at least get as horizontal as you can to lay down.
Sleeping upright doesn't work very well.
Right, that's true. But thinking about me napping, I mean, a lot of the times you want to fall asleep on the recliner or on the couch, but it's probably just better to go crawl into your bed and do it that way. Turn down the volume, that's another one, so turning off noise. And this actually suggests, if there is background noise, to turn on a white noise machine. I know for me, I really like having a fan on, so that's another great way. And number 6 is to sniff lavender, which I was kind of surprised about, but not at the same time. They actually say that smell is one of the scents that our brain most strongly tie to a memory. So thinking of sleep and smelling something else. Apparently it works.
You can even have someone walk by and there'll be a certain cologne or perfume, and then you'll think of somebody because you're connected to that smell.
Now that you say that, that is true. That's happened to me.
I've got one also on sleep, science-backed sleep remedies from time.com. Sleeping pills are big business. Americans spend $41 billion on sleep aids in 2015, and it's expected to go up, nothing but go up. Use of melatonin supplements has been shown to be a natural way of improving sleep.
And that's something I've done before, is the melatonin rather than maybe taking a sleep aid that's actually medication.
Some people take a lot of melatonin too, and it's enough to drop a horse. So they can
oh my! I've only done one small supplement.
Yeah.
After that, I get a little groggy.
Yeah, 2 to 6 or so is a typical amount. Valerian root is well established in the studies, it says here, to help calm the system and help get more restful sleep. Again, lavender. The idea of diffusing lavender as an essential oil in a diffuser in your bedroom could be very helpful for sleep. Chamomile tea, cup of tea, has been used for thousands of years. Meditation and noise machine, having white noise in the background to calm you down. So sleep is important.
It really is, and the meditation one really makes me think about how establishing a routine is so important to be able to fall asleep. And I've got some more 10 tricks to improve sleep here. One thing that they suggest that people probably haven't thought about is not to face your alarm clock, which so many people do. How many times in the night do you wake up and you check the time because you're worried that you missed your alarm? Just turn it away. I've had some people who, they don't even keep the alarm clock in their room.
Or block the light, because the light is very stimulatory to the retina and brain.
It really is. This also suggests, kind of going off the meditation, to use humming like you do in yoga to promote calmness and relaxation. But again, I think with having that routine and something that you do every single time really helps and helps you fall asleep as well.
If you have a significant other, you might change the tune once in a while, I'd recommend.
They may kick you out. But that's a great way to go about it. What else do you have, Dr. Pat?
I got a couple more on sleeping. No electronic devices before 30 minutes before bedtime. Take a hot bath with Epsom salts. And Epsom salts is a lot of magnesium, so it's very calming to the body, and it's a major deficiency. And it absolutely helps sleep, lower blood pressure, calm the nervous system. Magnesium is very helpful. Keep your bedroom dark, quiet, and cool. Avoid caffeine after 2 p.m. And remember, the bed is for sleep and sex only.
Some good reminders, and I do think the big takeaway is the routine of it all. Baths, having that white noise, do the same thing every time and just be conscious of it.
Get in a circadian rhythm where you go to bed the same time at night and wake up the same time in the morning, or get up the same time in the morning.
Exactly, so your body
it's all
knows
about
to
rhythm.
shut off. It's so important. And we'll be back with more natural health headlines right after this.
Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv.
Welcome back to Maximize Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen. And we've got your natural health headlines. We've got some more coming up here in the show. And the headline I have right here, this is from medicinenet.com. Berries, big health benefits in small packages. And I like getting this more information because berries are something I think most people love. They're sweet, they're tasty, but there's a lot of benefits packed into them
Sure are.
as well. So a lot of good stuff here. But researchers are just finding more and more reasons, if you didn't have enough already, to eat these nutritious powerhouses. All sorts of stuff that they've got here. Antioxidants are obviously a big one. No matter what type, they actually say, fruits, no matter what type, are linked with lower risks of cancer, heart disease, and inflammation, which, I mean, those are all things we want to reduce our risk for.
Yeah, it's hard to find a plant food that isn't anti-cancerous or good for your heart. It's nature provides if we just put this in our bodies.
And that's so good to know, because sometimes I think when we are reaching for snacks, we wonder what to grab, or we think, oh, I've had too many fruits today. But if you're choosing between fruit and a bag of chips, it sounds like always go for the fruit.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and in Maximize Living, we talk about the core diet in our nutrition book, and also the advanced plan diet. In the advanced plan diet, we try to limit sugar.
Yeah.
And even the fruits that are highly glycemic, which would be like bananas and pineapple. Although they're very healthy, we prefer the berries because they're low glycemic.
Really?
So they don't get that sugar rush and boost in your blood sugar, and it's much healthier for you.
And that's interesting to me that those are a better choice because they're still so naturally sweet. I mean, I know for me, I have a smoothie every morning and I do berries, a ton of spinach, and Greek yogurt. I can't ever taste the spinach because
That's a great way to hide spinach.
Yeah, it is.
And
I
kale,
mean,
kale works well too.
True, very true, and it's so sweet, so I'm so glad it's good for us. Thank goodness.
Here's one that I think you'll find interesting, and it kind of hits close to home. Dangers of synthetic scents include cancer, asthma, kidney damage, and more.
Wow.
This is from Dr. Axe, and you know, we use scents in a lot of different ways. We use it in our house, in our bathrooms, in our laundry detergent, our cologne, our perfume, cleaning agents, room deodorizers, shampoo, lotions, scented candles. That's hitting close to home. You want to make your house smell good.
Right.
But what are you putting into the air? This article is saying not good things, because most of them are petroleum-based.
Well, and as I understand it, most products, you just have to list fragrance. They don't necessarily have to go into detail all the time about what the specific chemicals are.
And there's up to 3,000 different chemicals behind that word fragrance.
Oh my goodness.
And there's so many different chemicals with harmful effects. Benzene is one of them, and that is known carcinogen. And so we just have to be very careful with what we use for scents. And overall, 34% of the population report one or more types of adverse health effects from exposure to fragrance products.
Oh, that's a high number.
So there is a solution, though. Essential oils are very healthy for you, and you can put those in and have them dispersed throughout the house in a diffuser and things like that. And you can have some wonderful smells with and fragrances with that, and they actually have benefits to your system rather than toxic effects.
And then you can kind of think of it too, you can kind of make your own concoction, if you will, of different scents that you like together. Make your own perfume or make your own household cleaner, and it'll be a lot better for you as well.
Yes.
Now, some products I've noticed do list specifically, rather than just listing fragrance, they'll go through those essential oils and list them in the ingredients list. So would you say that's something to look for?
That's certainly a lot better, but I would try to go all natural if I could.
Right. You don't need it. You smell great.
Yeah.
I love that. And before we go as well, one more headline. 1 in 4 chance your tap water is unsafe or not monitored, study says. And this is from the Star Tribune. This is kind of going off again with fragrance, something you might not think about: water that you're drinking every single day. In 2015, nearly 77 million Americans lived in places where the water systems were in some violation of safety regulations.
That's why we drink bottled water a lot of times, especially when you travel.
Right, and that can be very scary, so something to be conscious of and be aware of, along with all of this good stuff. And we'll be back with more natural health news right after this.
Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv.
Thank you for watching our show on Natural Healthcare News. By being informed and taking action, you have more control over improving your health than you may think. The 5 essentials to health are principles and laws that govern how our bodies function and restore. Through following these 5 essentials, you can move in a positive direction. By far, the best thing you can do for health is get a chiropractic checkup and determine if you have nerve interference or structural issues. Call 608-833-1282 today for the checkup that can change your life. For Maximize Living, I'm Dr. Patrick Andersen. Until next time, live well and God bless.